Hey guys, what's up? Um, Hold on for a sec. Put this in the wrong pocket. Hold on. Here we go. Sorry, a little unbalancing there. But yeah, I thought I'd come on here because currently, once again, my computer is doing an update. Don't know why. It's like the second day in a row. I guess, well, they say it's a big one, apparently, so. Yeah, Wild Hops, yeah, how not to do a reboot. I will be talking about Thundercats Roar, definitely. Because this is something that even though myself and even though I've talked about it numerous times, like I even talked about it the second installment of in the second installment of my So Let Me Understand This thing. And so I've talked about it audio wise and all that as well. In fact, let me check. Whoa, 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 easy. It's hard to do something when your fingers are. There we go. Yeah, I did two videos. A live one yesterday, a follow up to my thoughts on the new Thundercats Roar show, as well as I did an audio on it 4 days ago, and it shows that I'm live right now too, so that's pretty cool. um, but anyway, yeah, reboots. Let's be honest. A lot of nowadays, excuse me, nowadays, like to quote Linkara when he did the review of the Sonic Super Special issue where they crossed over the Sonic SatAM characters, Archie characters, with the Image comic characters. He did a little background on on Sonic basically to kind of get people up to date as to what was going on, and basically. He said it doesn't matter if you're Marvel, DC, or somebody else in comics or in media overall. Retcons, reboots are the name of the game, and pretty much that's the truth. It's pretty much the truth that it doesn't matter who you are. And it looks like I got two people watching. Let's see what happens when I do this. And looks like I got two people watching. See what happens when I do this. Yeah, so it is happening right now. So that's pretty cool. In fact, you want truth right there. But yeah, basically, it doesn't matter with an according to the car, like it doesn't matter who you are or what property you are. Nowadays, if there's an opportunity to use you and retcon you, they will. I mean, we're not even out of. Here's what's funny. We're not even out of Generation 4, Friendship is Magic yet. And there are some people that are not too sure exactly how Gen 5 is going to turn out. I mean, there's already, I guess you could say, leaked artwork of what Gen 5 is going to look like, what the characters are going to look like, some of the art styles that have been presented. Heck, there was even rumor or report that one or several designs are being considered as being finalized for the main six. So not a lot. So basically, yeah. Even when it comes to the ponies, if you will, even when it comes to them, and I just put that up today. This one, I just hung that up today. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Uh, basically, it doesn't matter whether or not you're the pony franchise or not. If they feel, hey, after your ninth season, we're going to just reboot you, then they're going to do it. I mean, I've come up with the concept that if they're going to want to keep the fan base alive and well with MLP, then maybe they ought to just end the finale, the season 9 or series finale on a sort of a retcon, on sort of a fate, on a crossover. I mean, not crossover, but a cliffhanger, and that cliffhanger being something similar out of what they've done with Archie comics in the Sonic comics there, and that is basically that is basically take and that's basically connect the two together, or connect certain events together as to why certain things are happening. So in other words, connect Gen 4 with Gen 5 by having whoever the villain is, and obviously it's going to be this Grogar from Gen 1, who I guess is more threatening than Turek, who more threatening Turek, make him like be the catalyst or the reasoning why we get a cliffhanger ending on Friendship is Magic that ends with a white fade out with words saying to be concluded in Gen 5, or to find out what happens, tune into the new Gen 5 series. And then when people, and thus you would get people's interest to the point that not only would they tune into Gen 5 and in the first episode, but within that first episode, you not only do a recap of what happened with Gen 4, but then you do a white fade, then you do a white fade in to officially begin. It's like you do the recap, you end the recap with the white fade out, and then you begin the official episode in the series with a white fade in, and that's where you have the characters notice that things have changed around them, and not just things around them, but they're themselves. Like Twilight finds out that she's no longer an alicorn, that she's now an earth pony. Fluttershy sees that she's a unicorn. Pinky sees that she's a Pegasus. Rainbow Dash sees that she's kind of like a Pegasus hippogriff, or whatever. Applejack notices she's got a whole new look and design, as well as a voice. Rarity notices that her horns are a little longer, and she's a little bit more translucent with her hair, or something like that. You kind of get the idea. And on Starlight, you can pretty much keep the same, but maybe you can add a little bit more noticeable eyeshadow, make her mane a little longer, and maybe put a little light lipstick on her lips, so that at least, even though she still stay the same, there'd be some new traits there to say that would show that, hey, even she's changed a bit. But the thing is though, folks, even with that idea, even with that potential idea of this being rebooted, fans are not looking forward to any kind of reboot, period. That's the general consensus. It doesn't matter if your intentions are good. If the reboot is going to suck, in their opinion, if the reboot is going to suck just by visually looking at what they're getting or being presented with, it's going to be hard to win them over. I mean, Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles right now still has people wondering exactly what the creators are thinking. It itself, Rise of the Ninja Turtles, it may do a lot better than what we're going to get from Cartoon Network with Thundercats Roar. It may be better than we think, It might be a lot better. Some people might say that the only reason they ever show comedic elements is to get your attention, to get your eyes on the product, your eyes on the prize. That's the only reason they do it. So even though we get presented with like a comedic look, things might be a little bit more different. Things might be basically, the old term is don't judge a book by its cover. That just might be it. We can't judge the book by its cover. We can't judge the book by its cover or anything. So, who knows? Some people are saying, look, it might be good. It might be better than you think. But like I said, but it's like I've said, right now, but like I and some others have said, yeah, it might be good. It might be better than we think. It might be the old adjective of don't judge a book by its cover. Yeah, something like that. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's kind of what I mean. But don't judge a book by its cover. The only reason, the only reason I or anybody else would say that is simply because of this. You know, right now, let's look at it this way. If they were to keep Thundercats Roar that they got planned upcoming, the way it is, the way it was presented to us, I wouldn't put it past them to do an episode, like I've said, and I've used this numerous times, where Tigra or Lionel, or even some new male character comes in, kisses Chitara on the lips or on the cheek, and she ends up doing what's known as the lustful milk egg and melts into a puddle of goo to the point that Snarf has to come in with a bucket and a mop to mop her into the bucket, to mop her up, squeeze her into the bucket, and then pour the bucket down like this just to restore her. I wouldn't put it past them with the art style and stuff that we're getting here. But some would probably point out, well, look at Steven Universe. No one thought you could take Steven Universe seriously, but here's the thing: Steven Universe is sort of an original idea, and it evolved. Yes, it looked like it started out as a parody show, whatever, but it's evolved and become something more to the point that its recent season finale, is still talked about. The point that I'm getting at is this. The point that I'm getting at is this. Okay, you know, reboots overall can be done and they can be done right. Gen 4, Friendship is Magic for MLP, proves that. Lauren Faust even said herself that she was inspired by Gen 1's characters and stories to make this what it is today. Hope to create the show and make it what it is today, or at least help start make it what it is today. You know, another reboot that does pretty good, and I'll give it to you on this. Ninja Turtles 2K3 2000 is 2K or 2K3, the one that was on Foxbox and Vortex and all that. The one that was sort of more truer to the original comic book run of Ninja Turtles. That is a good reboot. Heck, even the recent Nickelodeon animated series, which combined a lot of elements, is a good reboot. Biker Mice from Mars, the 2006 edition, which was a soft reboot retcon, sort of a soft reboot continuation of the original, that is a good reboot. You know, that is a good reboot. Biker Mice from Mars 2006, even though it's a soft reboot retcon continuation, that's still a good reboot. I mean, heck, I'll even say it right now, whether we like it or not. What they did after Worlds Collide, after the first Mega Man Sonic crossover that had to happen because of what happened behind the scenes, legally and all that, that itself was a good soft reboot in retcon because of what they gave us. But sometimes reboots don't necessarily need to happen. But sometimes certain reboots don't need to happen. I'll give you an example. Reboot itself, which is currently on Netflix, the new reboot. People look at that and they're like, seriously? What's this crap? They don't like that. They don't like it at all. Because this is, to them, that's not reboot. When you come out and say, hey, we're going to do a reboot, that's not what they think of. That's not what they think of, okay? It's not. There are some people that look at the Power Rangers 2017 movie, and even though it was a huge blockbuster hit and people liked it, there are people that pretty much pan that because they don't think it's good. Because that's not Power Rangers to them. Heck, there are people that will pan the anime Castlevania on Netflix because that's not Castlevania. And we don't know what people's reaction is going to be when Animaniacs happens. We don't know exactly what's going to happen when Animaniacs gets rebooted or softly retconned and rebooted to come out in 2 years, even though they're saying it's staying true to what the original was, bringing back the characters and all that. We don't know if people are going to like what they see. Some people may be panning it right now thinking, why do you have to bring this back? It doesn't make sense. Heck, people didn't even give people were happy when DuckTales became rebooted. But of course there were some that didn't like DuckTales being rebooted because when they saw the design of the characters they're thinking, seriously? This is what you're going to give us for the new DuckTales? But guess what? It's proven to be one of those reboots that basically don't judge a book by its cover because it's staying more true to the original Carl Banks stories along with some originality and mixture of the 1980s and 90s series than anybody ever thought of, and people are getting a kick out of it. They like it. In fact, in matter of fact, there's even hints at the fact that we could be getting a Disney afternoon television universe. Similar, well, not too similar, to Marvel Cinematic Universe. We could be getting that with a television animated universe with starting with DuckTales. I mean, we already know Darkwing Duck's in the same universe as they are. We know Tailspin's in the same universe as they are. So I wouldn't put it past them. We find out that Rescue Rangers is in the same universe as they are. I wouldn't put it past them. We find out that Goof Troop is in the same universe. So basically, all the Disney afternoon shows that we grew up on, we watched from when they began and ended, are all part of the same universe. It's all part of the same universe. In fact, one person, I can't think of the guy's name right now, but I subscribed to him on YouTube. He said the closest we ever got in the past was the Legend of the Chaos God story arc that went from issue to issue to issue of the Disney Adventures magazine. So it kind of shows you right then and there that if done right, a reboot, if done right, could lead to bigger things, the things you wouldn't have expected. And no one would have expected that out of DuckTales. Heck, there are people right now that are questionable as to how. I mean, okay, you want to talk about reboots or even soft reboots, whatever, retcons. People are in question about the live action takes on Kim Possible and Ron Stoppable and the people they chose for that. People are questionable on the recent revealed synopsis for Dumbo, the live action movie being done by Tim Burton. Some are looking at it as not a remake, but somewhat of a live action sequel. Which in a sense is kind of like a soft retcon reboot. And there and judgment is still out on those things, because even though people may be back and forth about, really, they're doing this, I don't want it, or let's give it a chance. It's like, these are the kind of reboots where judgment is still out there, where what's the word I'm looking for? Basically the saying is, don't judge a book by its cover is still out there on those. It is. It's still out there on those. But again, you never know. I mean, look, Ghost in the Shell. This is the standalone complex that I got recently, the complete series. But Ghost in the Shell had an anime continuation, sort of a reboot in a way, soft reboot, and people were cool with it because it stayed true to what it was. And I think that's the biggest difference when you do a reboot. When you do a reboot of any kind. If you stay true to the original in some shape, form, or fashion, people will be okay. If you stay true to the spirit of the original, they will like it. I think this is why, even though it only lasted for one season and got canceled because of lack of toy sales or something, people enjoyed 2011 Thundercats. This is why they enjoyed the 2002 2003 incarnation of He-Man. And even despite the lack of toy sales and stuff, they liked it because these shows stayed true to the original spirit, to the spirit of the original. And that's why Friendship is Magic is staying true to what it is so successful, because it stays true to the original. I did a video, I think it was a live stream video or something like that, where I talked about the fact that Friendship is Magic is the kind of show that you could air in any decade within the past 30 years, and it would fit in perfectly, and people would enjoy it because it's got that feel. And then reading up on the fact, and then the fact to confirm that further, to find out through Wikipedia that Lauren Faust got inspiration from Gen 1, tells you stuff. I mean, heck, I'm a Transformers fan. I'm a huge Transformers fan. I mean, look. I got Optimus Prime over here. I got Hot Rod Rodimus Prime over here. Over here. I got Alita 1 there. There. I got a lot. Heck, I even got the freaking movie poster from 1986. And it's hard for me to accept any kind of reboot or reincarnation of Transformers. But when I saw Beast Wars, at first I wasn't too sure about it, but then as more I watched it, the more I gave it a chance, the more I was like, yeah, this is Transformers the way I know it. And then heck, even when they did that one season of Beast Machines, which was sort of a soft reboot retcon, which I basically say you could use as an example to connect Friendship is Magic with Gen 5, in a similar scenario, well, not totally similar, but you get the idea, I still felt it was good because it was still true. It still carried the essence and the spirit of the original. You know, and despite the fact that they come out with some other ones, like Transformers Animated, which was okay, but not too good. Which was okay, but not too good in my opinion. But not too good in my opinion, but it was alright. But, you know, that's why we have Transformers Animated, Energon, Universe, or Unicron Saga, you know, Armada and all that. They were okay, but they didn't feel like they captured the spirit of the original G1 cartoon like Beast Wars and Beast Machine did. But yet, when Transformers Prime came out, even though I didn't get the chance to watch a lot of the episodes, I looked at the series like, damn, it may be a hybrid of the Michael Bay movies and stuff. It may be a hybrid of G1 and the Michael Bay films, but it is good. It's got that spiritual essence. It's carrying that spirit of G1 of Transformers. And I thought this was good. I mean, heck, you want other kind of reboots, even soft or anything that people kind of split down the middle that they feel is either done wrong or right? Look at Star Wars recently. The soft reboot retcons that serve as continuations or prequels, well, people are still out on the fence about. There were some that loved The Last Jedi, there were some that didn't. There's some that are going to love Solo that premieres tonight, and there's some that won't. The point is, if you're going to do a reboot, even if it's a reboot, straight up reboot, retcon, reset, whatever, start from scratch, and all that, if you're going to do that, then more power to you, but make sure you stay true to the original source material, or at least stay true to a point that you capture the spirit of the original, so that when you present it to the viewers, especially viewers that have been long-time viewers, then basically maybe in the end you'll capture magic in a bottle, just like Lauren Faust, Megan McCarthy, and Nicole DeBach did with Friendship is Magic. You know, maybe you'll capture lightning in a bottle. You don't know. You don't know. You might capture lightning in a bottle. But if you do a reboot, you need to stay true somewhat to the spirit of the original source material. You need to do that. You could change up a few things here and there, but you need to stay true to the original source material spirit. Because if you don't do that, and you make it look like you're getting far away from what made it the success that it was, made it the pop, made it the franchise that it was, made it the cult franchise that it's become, and gotten the following that it's gotten up to this day. If you do a reboot and you don't stay true to that, and you pretty much turn it upside down, inside out, to the fans' disgust, old and maybe even new, then pretty much you're failing on all fronts. That's why people. That's why a lot of people are very negative about Thundercats Roar. You're pretty much, in their minds, throwing out the spirit of the original, even though you say, oh, it's still going to have the spirit, even though you could come out and say, oh, it's still going to capture the spirit and everything of what made Thundercats good. Really, it doesn't look like that way to them. Because when you do that and you throw it out, you're pretty much failing on all fronts. And like I said the previous 2 times, if I'm this Victor guy, I listen to all the criticism and backlash I'm getting from longtime fans, new fans, critics overall, and I fix this. I fix it by putting some tweaks in there so that the next time I officially present it again, it'll have that somewhat of that essence and spirit of the original that people want. If I want to still go the comedy route, fine, but it's like, hey, if he still wants to go the comedy route, fine, but make sure it still captures that essence and spirit that the original had, so that way people will be like, okay, we'll give it a chance. You know? I mean, you take a look at Teen Titans Go. Yeah, it's pretty much a parody of Teen Titans before it. They even had to use a crossover with Young Justice to prove that. But guess what? Like I said, they had to use a crossover with Young Justice to prove that it's a parody, it's a comedy. But guess what? Even despite the fact that they got a movie coming out this year, despite that fact, people still don't like it. A majority of fans do not like it because of the fact that even though it's a huge success, obviously, for Cartoon Network, and some people say, hey, it's getting funnier at times, it's improving at times, guess what? It's still not that cup of tea. And maybe the movie might prove them wrong, who knows? The point that I'm getting at, folks, is if you're going to do a reboot, you need to make sure that reboot captures the spirit of the original source material and is able to not only attract new fans, but the older generation of fans that grew up on the original. Thundercats Roar is not doing that. However, there's a series currently on Netflix right now that's doing that, and that's DreamWorks' Voltron Legendary Defender. And even though they changed some things up, like with Pidge being a girl and her looking for a brother, and even though they had to wait about a season or 2 to get Princess Aurora into the Blue Lion, which I think is probably the best option they did, because you're building up to that moment. It's like, she's piloting the ship, but eventually she's going to pilot a Blue Lion, and they finally get to that point. That is how you make a reboot work and stay true to the spirit of the original and the original source material. And then if that's not enough, how about the upcoming She-Ra and the Princesses of Power? Despite what direction they may go with that, I've come up with a few theories. Check out the audio video on that. People are looking at that as staying more true to the spirit of the original source material than what Thundercats Roar is. I mean, I get it. It's like Nostalgia Critic pointed out one time. This kind of animation that they're going with, this kind of flashy animation, cartoony, comedic animation, where they want to reboot where they want to reboot old franchises and all that, is basically like waving keys in front of a baby, like, ooh, look at the keys, you want the keys here, this will keep your attention for a while. Yeah, that might be a good intention, but when you have parents of those kids that grew up on the original, or even grandparents of those kids that grew up on the original, uncles and aunts, that maybe have to watch those kids doing like summer or spring breaks, and they put that on to entertain them. You know, the kids might be entertained, but those adults that are watching them, the grandparents, parents, adults, will not be, because to them that's a slap in the face, and they know it. Heck, Magical School Bus Rides Again is kind of like split down the middle because it's sort of a soft reboot, retcon of the original. Basically, it's a soft reboot continuation, and some people feel it's blasphemy because you're taking the original teacher. I can't think of a name right now, Miss Finch or something like that. Not Miss Finch, but I can't think of a name right now. But you're replacing her with her younger sister. And true, you're taking the kids on different adventures. I get that. Miss Frizzle, thank you. Thank you, Wild Hobbits, Miss Frizzle. You're taking Miss Frizzle and you're replacing her with a younger sister whose last name is also Miss Frizzle, and you're basically you're basically having her take her place, and he's gonna take the kids on these new adventures, which I will admit they are going on adventures that are a little bit more different than they did before, going through some transformations to learn about what they're gonna learn. They're a little bit more different than the original did. I mean, heck, they had an episode where they turned into freaking fossils. They went back in time, became dinosaurs or whatever, and became fossils because of that. But there are similarities, if not identical, story arcs to the original as well. So, there's that, and there are people that are still on the fence about it. They're still on the fence. And they're reserving judgment for when it's all said and done so they can get a better idea of, okay, was it good overall in the end? Who knows? Who knows? I mean, here's what's funny. Marvel, people are questioning whether or not MCU will still be okay after Avengers 4. Because pretty much Avengers 4, because of the result at the end of this one, Infinity War, is pretty much going to go through what's known as a soft retcon reboot, because the story is calling for it and they need to change things up. And there's a lot of people that are on the fence of whether or not that's a good thing or it's not. Heck, there were a lot of people on the fence when DC decided to go this route. When they decided to go this route in the comics, and then eventually in the animated films, which is still going on in the animated films as we speak. Not a lot of people were happy, and they made their voices heard. They made it heard to the point that DC inevitably did another story arc, which basically fixed everything. But still, comic book companies, television companies, they still want to do reboots. I think Marvel's planning to do one later on this year too in the comics, and people are not happy about it. You look at television, and there are soft reboots and retcons happening as well. Like Murphy Brown is getting a soft reboot continuation. Roseanne got one, a soft reboot continuation. And there are people that were on the fence about Roseanne. Most people did like it, some didn't. And there's obviously going to be some that are going to be on the fence about Murphy Brown. Heck, there were people on the fence about Fuller House being a soft reboot continuation of Full House. So yeah, basically people will be on the fence about reboots depending on whether or not that reboot is going to live up to what the original was. I mean, why do you think people panned freaking Gem and the Holograms live action movie? Because it was a freaking reboot that did not stay true to the spirit of the original, even though in the after credits, during the credit scenes and all that, you had fans dancing in front of the cartoon that inspired the movie, and that cartoon is basically the spirit and source material that they should have gone with in the first place. The point is, not everybody is going to like certain reboots. So if you, like I said, if you're going to do a reboot of something, whether it's a soft one, which kind of serves as a as a continuation, continuity continuation, or if it's just going to be overall hard reset, reboot, whatever, you need to stay true to the original source material, which you're either continuing from or you're rebooting from. You need to stay true to the original source material and the spirit of the original source material, so that when you do eventually do the reboot, people might actually like it in the end. They won't be judgmental about it. They won't be hard on you about it. They'll be like, okay, I can get behind this kind of deal. I mean, I'm sure when Friendship with Magic came out, they were still kind of unsure about that, but guess what happened? It's pretty much done something nobody thought it would do. It's become a pop culture phenomenon. It's crossed barriers. It's crossed age barrier. It's crossed over barriers. It's crossed over genders. It's done all that. It has done all of that. It's crossed barriers. It's transcended what a series meant for one demographic and age group means. I mean, heck, it's going into its 9th season as we speak, with a 200th episode on the horizon that's being rumored to be similar to the 100th episode. So who knows what's going to happen. Overall, folks, the point is, you're going to do a reboot, do it right. DuckTales is succeeding because they're staying true to the spirit of the original DuckTales, as well as combining elements of the original the original Carl Barks comics, and the original 1980 series. And on top of that, they are connecting the Disney Afternoon series and shows into one universe. So don't be surprised if one day they show Huey on Launchpad watching television and you see Rescue Rangers. You know, don't be surprised. Nope.